up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. Sorry I took so long. Uh, yeah, we're gonna get into it. See, I'm not gonna say this is part two, but this is an expansion of the first video I did a while back, almost a year ago. Oh, pornography or pornography open portals to the demonic realm. But this is like an expansion version. I'm gonna talk about the stuff I didn't really get to talk about. All right, let's get into it. Here's an overview of what we're going to talk about in this video. The corn industry, Satan's kingdom and plan, intro, the law of correspondence in the human eyes, the soul's windows. What's on the other side of the human eyes while viewing corn, proof of these demonic forces and the impact on society. And last, how to cast out these demonic forces. I'm going to read off some quotes first to get a better understanding. Here we go. The plan of Satan from the beginning of creation was to, and still is, to destroy which God made the head. Satan will use whatever tactics he can to distract, hinder, and interfere with the plan God has for your life. Quote by Mary Lamech, great author. Here's another quote. I often have to drive on a highway that has a billboard for an adult superstore, a porn place that calls itself the Lion's Den. I wonder if the store name is making fun of the Bible's warning, your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. 1 Peter 5:8. Quote by David Feds, author. Here's the second part of it. Maybe somebody thought it was clever to have a porn palace, the Lion's Den, but that's exactly what it is, a place for Satan to swallow souls. That's the second part of his quote. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to tell you the science behind the soul swallowing Satan is using through porn. Yeah, let's get into it. The porn industry, Satan's kingdom. Here we go. Inverted pentagrams, devil horns, devil tails, and logos. Obviously, Satan is behind the massive pornography industry. It is in plain sight in the porn logos. Yet millions still watch it. A quote by Jay Williams. Yep, it's in plain sight. Here's a quote. Jesus said, even if you look at a woman with lust, you committed adultery with her in your heart. Yeah. The good stuff. The law of correspondence and the effects of porn on your reality. Here's a Bible quote. Matthew 5:29. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. That's the truth. All teenage boys are fascinated to some degree with such material, but I was distinctly aware that I had shifted into a different world, and I knew deep it was a dark, ugly one. A quote by Brian Fraser, author. And I know exactly what he means. The entire physical world is a shadow, a reflection of the upper world. Everything on this physical has a corresponding counterpart in the supernatural world realm. Quote by Rabbi Yitzhak. I got this from Ancient Archives. Shout out to Ancient Archives. If you're familiar with semen retention and all that, another can of worms. Here we go. The law of correspondence. Because your inner world reflects your outer world, and your outer world reflects your inner world, Corn viewers don't realize through their eyes, the soul's windows, whatever dark spirits that is viewed on screen will correspond with one's reality. I mean, like, look on the left. The eye is the windows to the soul. Proverbs 3:30-17. The law of correspondence, hidden patterns of the universe. So as above, so below. And I know that's like esoteric or occultist, and that's like kind of contradicting. But the reason why I chose like the law of correspondence and as above, so below, because as above, so below, like it really helped me explain like the law of correspondence. Yeah, like for example, the law of correspondence governs our universe in every plane. And another example is like, people like researchers who sample like lakes, they use like little like test tube like sample like lake samples because it corresponds with that entire body of water. And like, or if somebody's like not feeling well, like if they're feeling down, they're not gonna look so well like on the outside. They're not gonna like brush their hair as neatly. Like they're gonna look rough because it's corresponding to how they feel. Like you know what I mean? Like the universal laws, like kind of like with vibrations. But yeah, therefore these demonic influences are being expressed through the moans and cries of the performers on screen. Therefore, these demonic influences are manifested in the porn viewer's reality in many ways, which we will get further into. Corresponding spiritual and physical. The devil basically works through dimensions. They are direct demonic influence and deep in deception. Due to this, their consumption of pornography grows more and more, a lot of the time watching porn. And let me tell you, every video watched becomes a direct gateway for demonic influence and control to come into the life of the watcher. A quote by Willie Jones, great author. Yeah, so dabbling in porn is like dabbling in witchcraft, pretty much. You're dabbling in dark sex magic. It's literally something like the Ouija board. So you're like whatever space you're like, dabbling in porn, like dabbling in porn in, like whether it's your room, house, dorm, you're literally summoning like dark demonic entities in that space. Thus, by the universal law of correspondence, your outer world must be affected by the demonic influences in these corn videos somehow, some way. Demonic portals of the spiritual realm. When an individual watches corn, this allows access to the dark, hidden realm of perversion. Yet, corn opens up young children as old as 11 and younger to the unnatural world of perversion. Therefore, the act of sex is solely through perversion. We were never supposed to be such sexual creatures. It's just that we were brainwashed to be perverts at an early age, as early as our first encounter with corn. My first experience was the summer of 2004, where where I encountered my first raw corn site or corn sites. Well, technically, it all first started when I was like in the early '90s, when I was like 2 or 4. My siblings and cousin, they would when we'd be together, like on the weekend or whatever. When the kids would be in the room, we would like sometimes gaze at like the soft core corn channel, which is crazy to think about that they actually had that back then on cable channels. But we would actually like laugh about it. We would call it the nasty channel. Like yeah, we had like a very childish view of it, and I'm pretty sure there was some of it was sexual curiosity in it as well. But no, and then also like later when I was like 8 or 7 or 9 or 10, the HBO like the Cat House, like how they would have like rated R. I would like I would kind of like when my mom would be asleep in the other room, I would kind of like, or if she was gone, I would kind of like glance at it, like watch like clips of it, like the mature HBO channels or late night HBO. But no, the summer of 2004 was my real encounter with actual corn sites. For example, I remember you remember the Yahoo chat rooms, how it used to be filled with nothing but spam. like people advertising their webcams, corn sites, or whatever. I remember I had went into it was later summer of like 2004. I was like 11 years old. I remember it was late at night. I was like curious, so I actually went into one of these Yahoo chat rooms, not to look for corn. I mean, even though I knew it was spam because my sister told me, but I wanted to interact with people on the internet, and lo and behold, it was filled with spam, like nothing but constant. Look at my webcam. Look at my webcam. Like spam. Like not like there were barely even people like really talking. I believe they were all bots. But no, I ain't gonna lie. I did deep dive into those corn sites. Like I clicked on plenty of links. I think I watched a bunch of gifs, snippets, photos, videos. Little did I know, I literally opened up a demonic portal. Now check this out. The morning after I was looking at those corn sites late night, I'm in the room because my mom was gone, so I was sleeping in her room. I can hear it in the other room, in the living room, where my sister was on the computer. My older sister, she was like complaining, like, "What the heck?" She was like, "I think Chuck got us a bunch of viruses. What is all this free corn?" Like, she was like complaining about how there was a bunch of like viruses from these corn sites. Talking smack. And my cousin was like, "Really? Yeah, I ain't ever letting him use my computer. Like, I'm just listening to them." Meanwhile, she gets a phone call from my mom, because she went to Virginia Beach because she does it with her fiance. Because they would do Virginia Beach. They would religiously do it like every summer, and she'd always come back with saying, "Oh, I had such a great experience." But no, this time, the day after I opened up that corn portal, my mom and her fiance, I guess they had like a misunderstanding or whatever or something. And let me tell you, they were together for before that, they were already together for, I would say, 7 years. I'm just gonna say from then and from that day on, it continued to go downhill. And they I believe, ended up separating and never getting married in like the early 2010s. And then unfortunately, he passed away in 2020, I believe, the summer, or 2019. But no, the reason why I bring this up, because during that time, like, there was like family crises that I was never used to, that were all coming, and that all came in just one huge wave. Coincidentally, not after I started exploring the first raw, my first corn sites. When I first started going on corn sites, sorry. And I really don't think that's a coincidence. And while doing this PowerPoint, I started having a bunch of epiphanies, realizations, like, oh, okay, it makes sense. That's why that happened, because I was looking at corn during that time. Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of unfortunate events in correspondence to me exploring these corn sites that night. I mean, things did kind of, you know, they did chill out like months, let's say, like a couple months after, like, things started getting, a little bit better. Now, fast forward to the next summer of 2005, when I was 12 years old, Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, the Frozen Throne, the custom game. Now, this isn't World of Warcraft. This is before World of Warcraft. This is the actual strategy game. The Blizzard strategy game. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, if you played it. They had like a custom game where it allowed, like, people who own the game, they could do all types of crazy mods. Like, they could literally turn a third person strategy game into like literally a first person shooter. That's how that's how much freedom these modders had. But what they would do is, when you would play custom game, you could select your own, like I think, download screen or banner. A lot of people, they would just put porn. So when you would download the game or the server or whatever, it would just have like a porn in like the banner or whatever. In like the, yeah. in the loadout screen. So when you would go to your main disc on the game, like it would have it all. Like I had a whole bunch of like corn, and not only that, I was exploring like the corn games on E Bombs World. Newgrounds, how they have M for Mature games. And also later that summer, I was actually went on like corn sites that had like the ones that had like not free trials, but they would give you would have to pay for it because I don't think hub sites were really that big, or they might have just started. But yeah, they will give you like free snippets. I mean, they wouldn't show everything. I mean, they would show some nude, but they would show like small snippets. But yeah, I was getting into that. Now later that summer, my mom ended up visiting her fiance in his state, and we like went to his like hometown to like go pick him up. Let's just say the environment that summer, yeah. That was a yeah. And oh, mind you, I know this is random. This isn't really relevant, but this was the same week when Hurricane Katrina popped off. But yeah, I like the quote I mentioned earlier. I think it was who was it, Willie Soames, or how he said he when he first opened his first corn magazine, it shifted him into a like another world. It really did. It really does. Because I was experiencing in correspondence to my first porn site use or porn use in general, like I noticed a correspondence in like family crises, like just coming right after me doing that, which took me years to realize. But yeah, 2005 was a very wet summer. At the age of 12, that's why I discovered masturbating. And then yeah, I was going crazy that summer. It was very wet looking at corn. And yeah, sorry to get off track. Let's get into it. Uh, but yeah, us human males, we were never designed to be such perverted creatures, and always think about sex. The enemy uses the perversion of corn to keep society low vibrational because the act of sex is the lowest form of human consciousness. Okay. These spirits will cause havoc, even death in one's life and others as around them as well. Yeah, these spirits will cause havoc and chaos in your life. Do not be surprised if you start getting more frequent phone calls of unwelcome news in correspondence with the use of corn, which can affect your family life as well. I like to bring up the old dam analogy. Whatever, whatever, when you're watching corn, whatever is vulnerable in your life will be affected. For example, let's say if you have a son with breathing problems or heart problems, when you start dabbling into porn, those heart problems will start acting up, and he'll need to go to the hospital. Or let's say if you have like an older car, like a janky car, but it still runs smooth, you start watching porn, I guarantee you that car will start breaking down. Stuff like that. Also, if you're a young man in the talking phase with a love interest, yeah, these demonic forces will intercept, you know, will intercept the talking phase. And they will also sabotage your relationships and love relationships in general. So yeah, looking at porn will create non-stop turbulence in your life in a bad way. So repeat, when you're looking at these corn videos, you're literally corresponding demons in your life. That's why when you're constantly watching hardcore corn videos, you wonder why there's so much chaos in your family, personal life as well. Like you're literally putting a spell on yourself. Like you're literally dabbling in dark magic. All right. These spirits will shift one's outlook of their world into a dark, depressing outlook. The dark, depressing outlook, aka I call it the witch hunt energy, is due to the disgusting porn cloud and the spiritual. You live in a nightmare world of fear, and you constantly try to convince yourself that you are happy, but you're not. It's similar to the Lord of the Rings. When Frodo would wear the ring of Sauron, he would now enter the Wraith world, but in the unseen spiritual world around you. Thus, you start to feel anxiety, fearful, and vulnerable. And you also feel like your family is vulnerable too, in which they are. Also, even the most minutest aspects, such as pictures taken during your long porn use cycle, will have a demonic look to it as well, even after you quit entertaining or watching or looking at porn. That demonic out, the demonic look on that picture will stay. I know that's random, but it's true. Yeah. Because corn is like dabbling in witchcraft, its consumption also can summon toxic individuals in your life as well. They'll try to kill you too. I mean, I'm not always, but you know what I mean. They will endanger your life. So yeah, because it's witchcraft, the enemy has a large part of our collective messing with dark magic or sex magic, you can say, on a daily basis, and it's technically making them society demo- demonic sex magic warlocks without even knowing it. And yes, corn has the power to turn a happy home into a very uninhabitable environment with fighting, cussing, swearing. Also, I'm gonna say this: quitting corn, it won't make your life like sunflowers, dandelions. It won't make it all. It won't make it perfect, but I promise you, it will be. Your life will be a lot smoother. What I'm saying is, you're probably like if you quit corn, all your problems aren't going to go away because that's life. Life comes with obstacles, and uh, before we move on to the next slide, let's watch a clip from a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber named Slide Bean. He shows the demonic unrest, that many of the was it the Pornhub moderators go through. Like the moderators, they have to like go through many corn videos, to filter them out. But here, I'm going to show it now the effect it has on their psyche.
Geek is so massive that this content still exists on some websites under the company's umbrella. The situation only highlighted the challenge Pornhub faced with moderation. There is so much porn that it's impossible to see it all. Now, even more so after Pornhub introduced the community channels, regular people just upload their videos by the thousands with hopes of getting followers and getting some tips. So in theory, moderators have to watch each one of those videos. And let me be clear, the company does have moderators, just it's impossible to get enough. In 2020, former MindGeek moderators revealed that it was just impossible to keep up. They had to watch 1,200 videos per day and catch anything from underage sex to bestiality to death. But MindGeek had given them a remarkably lax rulebook. Since it was so big, the company even allowed for content forbidden in one site to appear in the other. It's just impossible to be consistent with just so much content, so many websites. So the moderators didn't know what to do. So they passed some videos. They also told how their mental health was taking a toll. Of course, but unfortunately, the company just did too little, too late. The company added mental health services and reported some videos to the authorities, but it started doing so only after hundreds of thousands of videos had already made it to the site. In this very same situation, underage girls found their images and videos on the website. In 2020, a story broke that 2 girls aged 15 and 14 were filmed without consent. And then they ended up, of course, in Pornhub.
See, See, that was crazy, right? I'm telling you, it's more than just watching corn. It attacks your soul. The eyes are the windows to the soul. Okay, family leaders cannot depend on laws and society to protect their spouse and kids from the demonic spirits. Mary Lamick, great author. It's more than just watching corn. Now here's a this is a post from Reddit. Let's read it. Let's read it. This is proof that I'm not the only one. Each time I watch corn, something bad happens a few days later. Is this karma or a coincidence? I'm not sure, but I'm actually looking for an answer myself. From me almost dying to loved ones suddenly getting cancer to suddenly getting really painful boils the next day, I've experienced the same thing or of something bad happening within a few days of watching it. Now this is a completely different person on Reddit, and I believe he's responding to the post I showed you in the slide before. This is old, but I have noticed it and tracked it for years. I stopped watching it, and everything started going in my favor. I started watching it again, and there is a huge fight in my family, problems at work, fight with my wife, etc. I know this sounds crazy, but that is my experience. Porn is a spiritual and energetic pollution. It's a bad luck generator, an amplifier by default. Teal Swan, author. It's more than just watching corn continued. Now here's another post, but this isn't Reddit. This is what is it called? Quora. What Quora? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Is it me or does watching porn cause bad luck? I watched some last weekend. Then today, three bad things happened. I almost fell for a spam text asking me to give out my debit card number. I was given a woman's shirt instead of men's for a Christmas gift. I was given a Christmas gift that goes against my beliefs. Then I unintentionally pissed off the person who gave me that gift. My days don't usually go this badly. Edit. I've been using corn. I got forced to stay overtime and was pissed. Maybe because I couldn't get my fix. Then a day later, I got the flu. I'm strongly suspecting I may be onto something with corn, some causing bad things to happen. I'll stay away and see if things get better. Now, mind you, I'm actually grateful for this post right here, this information, because this is proof that it shows how corn can affect like this even the small petty aspects can in your life can go wrong just by using corn. Like it's not always extreme. Porn and bad luck. And here's another post from Quora. To be clear, I'm not religious and I'm somewhat agnostic, but as a recovering addict, I like to share a personal view of pornography. It attracts a lot of bad luck. Every time I masturbated after hours and hours of watching pornography, I almost was certain that things would go wrong at work or in some other area. And that's what happened. A meeting would go terribly wrong. My wife would have some problems, and an unexpected bill would arise out of nowhere, among other possibilities of bad luck. And for me, the reason is no great mystery. The universe is made of energy, and you are simply absorbing the energy of the people who are miserably suffering in the act, or who carry a lot of suffering from having sex due to past abuses. See, he knows what's up. He's got an idea. Of course, we cannot and should not generalize. Some creators live a life in a cool way without abuses, earn them some money, and have some fun. But most of the time, we know how much the industry carries suffering and pain and abuses. Yep, he sure is right. And let me tell you a quick story. I remember back in 20 back in 2018, I made it like on New Year's Day. I made a resolution that I would quit watching corn. Right? Actually, actually, carried that resolution. Like I kept that pact for like 3 or 4 months, and that is true. Like things did get when I stopped watching corn for those 4 months. Things really did 4 or 3 months. Things really were smooth. Like there weren't really any like family crises. Not much bad. There wasn't really much bad news popping up, and I was actually receiving money that I wasn't expecting. But check this out. I decided to, I gave in, and I decided to entertain porn. But check this out. I decided, all right, how about this? I'm not gonna watch it. I'll just listen to the corn star having sex. And yeah, I did this. I masturbated to like the noise of the audio of the corn video. Check this out. I'm not making this up. Literally after not even 5 minutes after listening and masturbating to that video, I got a phone call, and let's just say I lost $1,000 right there on the spot, which was a huge chunk of my money. I was salty. Like I said, everything was going smooth when I wasn't looking at corn, but all of a sudden, when I decided to, entertain corn, not by watching it, by listening to it, all of a sudden, all these crises or unfortunate events start coming in, and some actually bad in my family did actually happen like later that month, later or a week later. Yeah. So those are four different testimonies of people who have experienced the demonic influence, the backlash they have summoned in their physical by entertaining corn. So see, I'm not the only one. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys proof. And yeah, I'll admit, like I said, a slide before about listening to like sounds of just listening to sounds of like the corn audio. Let me tell you, like the corn audio I've listened to, not just the audio, but I've listened to while watching. Like, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot even imagine the evil I have listened to. Not saying that it was like necessarily like rape or like hardcore corn, which I wasn't really never really into. But yeah, you will not fathom the evil I've listened to in those corn audios. And it really makes sense to why there was so much demonic stuff happening in my life in correspondence of my corn use, especially during my corn years. But yeah, let's move on. It will infiltrate your life and home. This in turn allows Satan to gain strongholds in your life and lifestyle. Watching corn is like dabbling in witchcraft, and we are not to take the demonic realm lightly ever. Quote by Willie Soames. So yeah, entertaining corn is like you're literally performing a corn ritual, and the corn stars, whatever they're doing, like the sounds, the noise, the sounds, like the way they perform, and like I said, like the noises, you know what I mean, the noises too. That's like to put a spell on you, like make you hooked and obsessed. And also like the trash talk they be talking in the on the corn sets on these corn sets. Yeah. The physical world is remnants of the spiritual world. Welcome to hell. That's a quote by Dominique Morrow. He I think he's one of the NDE. He has like an NDE story about how he was a gang member who was shot twice, and he actually was killed and actually went to hell. Like he clinically died in the hospital. Like he has a good story. Look up Dominique Morrow. But yeah, studies have found that corn use is correlated with lower quality living. Quote by James B. Weaver III, a health communication scientist. Yeah, these demonic forces are not only expressed through mishaps in one's life, but one's scenery as well, such as appalling living conditions. Corn and bad living conditions go hand in hand. Demons love clutter in a dirty environment. In a dirty environment shows there's a demonic presence. A quote by Mark the Messenger, great YouTuber. Shout out to Mark the Messenger. But yeah, when you look at like a really grimy, dirty environment, you are looking at the print of a demonic entity, which is normally grime. Yep. So yeah, like check this out right here. For example, check this out.
It's a nice house though. There's a porn movie. Big natural breasts. No, they're the same girl. Yeah, actually, you're not wrong. So maybe this was the porn addict's house. Oh my god, there's a Blockbuster video freaking bag, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that. Oh yeah, okay, this is the porn addict's house. Holy shit. Oh, guys, I'm gonna have to blur all of this. Oh my god. Holy. That is a lot of dicks. For sake. 1-800 jack off.
It's such a pretty room.
Guys, I can't even. It's literally all gonna be blurred.
Yep, you see that video. You see at the end how there was a devil face being drawn on the walls of that house, which is a nice house by the way. But yeah, that devil face was not a coincidence. That was literally Satan, like a telltale sign that Satan was there. He was letting you know that he was there. His presence was there, and his demonic minions were there as well. But yeah, that devil face was not a coincidence. But yeah, remember the corn performers, especially the women, have so much trauma and are being abused sexually on screen and having unprotected sex. And most of them are damaged and are being forced against their will and are in pain. And of course, that demonic energy is going to manifest in your environment through the law of correspondence. That is why you have a grimy living space. Your environment must catch up and align with the satanic underworld by universal law. So yeah, if you look at these pictures, like look at the first top left one. Oh, these were all taken by like a plumber showing his worst living conditions. But 9 times out of 10, if you look at the image on the top left, I bet you, whoever that is, I bet you any money they're hardcore corn users. And you look at the right, look at that tub. That tub is like disgusting. Like ugh, it's like hair and everything. Ugh. And then the worst photo is the bottom left. Like what is that? That's like a dead animal carcass. Ugh. Like a skeleton. Ugh. That's like a possum. I hope that's not like a dog or anything. Otherwise that would be sad. But either way, that's just ugh. Like looking at that photo makes my skin crawl. I think that's somebody's front patio. But yeah, like I said, the demonic. That is really some demonic stuff right there. If, what you're looking at, what I have circled, that is demonic and just disgusting and skin crawling. But yeah, the demonic underworld must align with your physical world by universal law. Eventually, it's going to catch up. And then, I don't know if you noticed, you watch a lot of the what is it, the predator poacher channels. I forgot his name. The main one. What's his name? I forgot his name. The one who caught EDP. Like if you look at a lot of his videos, like the pedophiles he catch, like he catches Like I've noticed, like the majority of them, especially the ones that are into like hardcore bestiality and like child porn, like they literally have like really screwed up Sanford and Son looking living environments. Yeah. But yeah, and like the last video, like how I mentioned, these corn producers go to these they go to like third world countries, mainly in Asia, and it's normally like Philippines. In the Philippines, like they'll prey on like poor, vulnerable women, and they'll have and a lot of them are probably mothers that are in desperate need of taking care of their family. So what they'll do is they'll prey on these women, and then have them put in a situation where they're trapped in a room with a bunch of shady, evil, perverted corn producers, and they're being forced to do like heinous um, sexual things that they didn't even sign up for in order to feed their family. So yeah, these women are being put in dangerous situations, maybe even life threatening situations. Meanwhile, they have kids back they have like children back at their house, hoping for like a next meal. I'm telling you, this corn industry is way more demonic than you think it is. It's more demonic than demonic. But yeah, that's the type of energy we're corresponding through our eyes into our own physical and into our soul as well. But yeah, the demonic corn portal. For some men, it takes serious consequences to give up pornography. For Joe, it took a 6-month jail sentence. Joe is nearly 70 years old, is a member of the mainland Protestant denomination, and was arrested for possession and distribution of child pornography. Continued. Interestingly, part of his coming to understand that he was doing was very wrong involved change in his religious perspective from being selfish to selfless. He describes a moment in jail when he was hitting rock bottom. He was very sick and was unable to receive treatment, staying in an overcrowded jail cell with people who wanted to hurt him. And that's a quote from John. That's a story from John D. Fubert's book. But in the rest of the story, I think he ends up like getting out. He ends up getting. He ends up. Yeah, he ends up getting out of jail early with the grace of God. But no, I wanted the reason why I show this story is because it shows how that how because he was entertaining a child porn, which is like which is beyond very very demonic, and so he practically over time he corresponded that demonic corn energy of child porn. It eventually caught up to his physical, and where did it land him? It landed him into the drapes of society, prison, with the bottom feeders of this world of society, like the story said, with an overcrowded jail cell with people who wanted to hurt him. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he went from having a very, he lived a very comfortable suburban, peaceful life, and within a matter of months, he's in jail. He's in, like I said, he's in the drapes of society. So yeah, that corn portal, uh, it pretty much, yeah, it pretty much landed him in prison, and he got it worse because he was a part of a Protestant church. Yeah, and if you are a religious person entertaining child porn, you will get it way worse than a non-religious person or a non-believer. I might do a video on that in the future. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story. What's on the other side of the human eyes while viewing corn? Now, this right here, this is the evil acts that go on, the demonic acts that go on within the corn industry. And I'm just gonna, this is all like, scientific, research based evidence. And I just wanted to show you guys what you guys are corresponding into your reality the demonic forces or the demonic energy. And I'm going to start with a Bible quote from Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Yeah, quote from Ephesians 12. It is here on these sets that multiple demons gather together. The people on set and shoot are completely obvious to the spiritual inner going on deep in their personal spirit. Quote by Willie Soames. Unfamiliar with the modern porn industry, a whole new pornographic world opened up to me as I stood there in horror, staring at violent images in front of me, video after video of women's faces being ripped back while grotesque men violently penetrated them from the behind, became too much for me. A quote by Shelley Lubin, ex-Corn star and Pink Cross founder. To my great disgust, I turned my head to witness the hundreds to thousands of male fans standing around me, watching the violent videos with extreme delight, starving ravenous wolves staring at the corn stars as if that it was their last meal. And the second part of the quote by Shelley Lubin, ex-Corn star and Pink Cross founder. Satan's Final Frontier, the sex industry. This is from a documentary on YouTube that Shelley Lubin did. I think the theme, I don't know if that's the actual name of it, but the theme is Satan's Final Frontier, the sex industry, which they couldn't have picked a better name or term. Satan's Final Frontier, the sex industry, which it is literally his final frontier. Because think about it, the act of sex is the most powerful is the most powerful act and the most powerful energy in this universe. And Satan has honed it and has manipulated and perverted it as well. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, and also I did not know that Shelley Lubin was dead. It took me I found out less than a year ago that she had passed away in 2019. I thought she was alive this whole time. But shout out to Shelley Lubin. She's literally the pioneer of a pioneer of exposing the sex industry, the corn industry's demonic ways. She was one of the first people to literally expose it to the public with her book and with interviews, and as well as her organization, the Pink Cross Foundation. I guess where they help struggling corn stars, they help them get out the industry, and I guess they help them get on their feet and help them, acclimate them into the real world. But yeah, shout out to Shelley Lubin, rest in peace. I'm gonna read this. Shelley Lubin is a former prostitute and a pornography actress who appeared in 30 hardcore films during her career, but Shelley's experience with the sex industry was anything but glamorous. Her testimony paints a picture of intimidation, cruelty, and the altering physical risks. Yeah, she does mention how these corn producers, how they'll literally corner and gang up on young teenage girls, and they even might even go as far as threatening their lives just to have them do certain acts, to pressure them to do certain things in these corn flicks, which I'm gonna show proof. Image little girls are exactly what the corn industry preys upon and depends upon. Quote by Roxy, ex-corn star. It is estimated that 90% of corn performers are sexual abuse survivors, and the average age of corn is 22.8 years old. Another quote by Roxy. So yeah, that's what I was saying. The trauma, the abuse that you can hear from these women when they're performing. Corn is marketing for sex trafficking in two powerful ways. First, it serves as a direct online and offline marketing as traffickers use pornographic images to draw buyers. Second, corn has an influence on the culture at large, whetting appetites. Quote by Laura Lederer, founder of Global Fund for Women. When corn stars call it a day and head home with bruises and bloodied bodies, some of us attempt to have normal, healthy relationships, but our suitcase pimp boyfriends become jealous and physically abuse us. Quote by Shelley Lubin. Some females damage their reproductive systems, which left them unable to have children. Danielle Williams, ex-corn star. Many women experience other medical maladies such as prolapse rectum, a horrific condition which the walls of the rectum protrude through the anus and consequently become visible outside the body. Shelley Lubin. Disgusting. Corn star Darren James recalls his nightmare of testing positive for HIV in 2004. His quote, "It was like a hit in the gut." James said life was pretty much over. Quote by Shelley Lubin. A hit in the gut. Psh, if I heard that news, it would be more like a stab in the gut. A hit in the gut. Corn star Belladonna, who told Diane Sawyer, "I always hated corn," confessed how she went to a shoot preparing for what she thought was a regular sex scene. Sorry, it's probably a typo. Instead, the director asked her to do anal sex. According to the network, she just turned 18 years old. Quote by Shelley Lubin, or from Shelley Lubin's book. And then I guess it's continued. A few months and several shoots later, now a veteran porn actress, Belladonna showed up for another set. She was told she would appear in a prison gang rape scene to be shared between 12 different men. Again, she tried to back out. Again, she was convinced to continue. Shelley Lubin, ex-corn star. Quote from her book. When the deaths of 129 corn stars over a period of roughly 20 years were analyzed, it was discovered that the average life expectancy of a corn star is 37.43 years of age. It doesn't take a math genius to understand that the corn industry is drastically smaller than the music industry and yet has higher suicide rates of drug-related deaths and suicides. Quote by Shelley Lubin. Me, honestly, I think the reason behind this, I believe when like a lot of corn stars, they make like some type of demonic pact, and that demonic pact and that demonic energy follows them throughout their whole career and after their entire career. And here's proof of these demonic forces and the impact on society. Along with the increased interest in practicing dark arts and reading the occult-themed literature, amongst the most spiritually dangerous practices being discussed is pornography, the scourge of the internet. Pornographic addiction now impacts a huge percentage of men, women, and children. Quote by Lisa Mlandinch, author. Sorry, I probably butchered that name. 18 to 30-year-olds, 63% of men and women say they view pornography at least several times a week. Quote by Matt Frad. So yeah, 63% of men and women, they practice dark sex magic, by watching porn several times a week. Like I was saying, now it makes sense to why our world is so chaotic. Because guess what? They got 63% of our entire population. I believe this is going off like the United States percentage, not worldwide, but 63% of Americans are practicing demonic witchcraft 7 days a week. Like a drug addiction, corn addiction causes a person over time to use the substance more and more. The corn addict needs to watch more corn or more hardcore corn to get the same high he could get with smaller doses. Quote by Dr. Eric Nestor. A study both exposed participants to pornography and asked them about their pornography use and found that high pornography use corresponds to higher acceptance of rape myth, acceptance of violence against women, adversarial sex beliefs, and the likelihood of committing rape and forced sex acts, and sexual callousness. This is a quote from James Check and Ted Golion from the article "The Effects of Repeated Exposure to Sexually Violent Pornography or Pornograph." Among attorneys at the November 2002 meeting of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, 62% said the internet had been a significant factor in divorces they had handled during that year. Of those cases, 56 involved one person having an obsessive interest with internet porn. And a quote from American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers. Now, this was 2002. I can't imagine what it looks like now. The percentage. 40% of abused women indicated that their partner used violent pornography. Of these whose partner used pornography, 53% said that they had asked or were forced to enact sex scenes they had been shown, and 26% had been reminded of pornography by an abuser during the abuse. Quote by Janet H. Shope, and it's the article "When Words Are Not Good Enough: The Search for the Effects of Pornography on Abused Women." Research on male pornography users found that 21% viewed child pornography as part of what they consume. These men are more likely than other men to be frequent viewers of pornography and to report that they enjoy new and exciting experiences. Quote by John D. Fubert. Here we go. The beginning of the golden age of pornography. Quick history lesson. Let's get into it. Yeah, this right here is Lost Braun. If you don't know who that is, like check out. I did entire video on him, like a autobiography, kinda like like an autobiography type video. I don't know, but yeah, you might want to check it out. It gives off a lot of info on his rise to normalizing, corn. But yeah, he pretty much normalized like corn, like he pretty much laid the foundations of regular corn that we see today. But let me read. Lars Braun is a major figure in the sexual revolution, coined modern day pornography, with popularizing foreplay, close-ups, oral, etc. He distributed thousands of copies of pornography throughout Europe and the United States during the early 60s until the late 70s. Pay attention to those years. So yeah, Lars Braun, aka the King of Porn, started smuggling erotic content such as corn sex novels, etc. From 1961 1966, his enterprise grew exponentially. He also filmed the first pornographic movie in color, and it was the first hardcore corn film with different angle shots. The film's name was Golden Butterfly in 1966. He showed this short film at the Cannes Film Festival in 1966, which completely shocked the audience because they had never seen anything like it. And in 1967, he founded AB Beta Films. Yeah, and then what was it? On July 1st, 1969, Denmark became the first nation in the world to legalize pictorial and audio visual porn with the help of Las Brown and his colleagues. And because Denmark in 1969, it was the first nation to legalize pictorial audio visual porn, this was a major victory for the sexual revolution and also Satan as well. What else? After Denmark overturned the ban on obscenity, suddenly there were sex conventions and sex fairs all over Denmark. And like I said, Denmark became the porn capital of the world. And in result to the Danish parliament legalizing pornography, the AB Beta Films private mail order client list grew from 35,000 to 50,000 between 1968 to 1969. And he had started a peep show machine service with a man named Rudy between the years 1971 and 1974. There were already 60,000 machines in and across the states of the Union, in which these peep show machines were considered a success and which inspired many American filmmakers. One of them was Deep Throat. I think that movie was released in 1972. It was the first American porn film with like an actual script, and with an actual script. And what was it? But yeah, like I said, this was the first major victory of the sexual revolution, and of course Satan as well. Now check this out. Notice how he started doing porn in early 1961, and then until like 1960s, late in the late 60s, he really took off, as well as the early 70s. You can see like a correspondence. Look at the chart on the left. This is corn prevalence across time. You notice, like I said, you notice how there's like a huge dip in the early 60s, like 1962. There's like a huge wedge. Yeah, between 1962 and like 1970. Well, look on the right at the graph, showing United States violent crime rate per 100,000 people between 1960 and 2019. There's a corresponding wedge on this graph on the right from 1960 to 1970. There's like a huge spike. If you look at both of them, do you believe it's a coincidence? I don't think so. Because now let's look at this other one. Now look at the one on the right. Now this graph touches base on the global deaths and natural disasters between 1900 and 2011. All right, so look on the right, look on the left, and look on the right. There's another correspondence, because if you look at the graph on the right, you kind of see that dip between 1960 and 1970. There's kind of like a wedge up of natural disasters. But the good thing that the death tolls went down as the years went by, and I guess technology got better and they built more efficient buildings to withstand natural disasters. But look, there's that same wedge. There's that same dip. Coincidence? I think not. Because you know why? Because guess what? Like I said, Satan has the collective, dabbling in dark arts and also summoning demonic forces within our society. Thus, in result, we have more natural disasters and crazy stuff happening. Coincidence? I think not. Now, right here, corn corn run on C's TV channels, says residents. April 1st, 2002. Israeli troops who have taken over 3 Palestinian television stations in Ramallah are broadcasting pornographic movies and programs in Hebrew, irate residents say. Soldiers occupied the offices of 3 local television and radio stations on Saturday morning and started broadcasting the corn clips intermittently on Saturday afternoon on the Al Watan Amwaj and Al Shirak channels, the resident said. Here's a quote. I have 6 children at home. They have nowhere to go with what is going. They have nowhere to go to what is going on here, and I can't even watch TV. Rima, a Palestinian mother, said. So yeah, the reason why I share this is to show you that the higher ups or the powers that be or whatever you want to call them, they are aware of the power that corn has on the human psyche and the human soul. So they didn't run corn channels in Palestine like for no reason. They knew what they were doing. You know what they were doing? They were trying to lower their morale. What was it? A couple months back, I was watching Mike Busey, and then he had on Charleston White, and they were talking about how like back in like 2001, before America invaded Afghanistan. And I don't know if this is true or not. You guys might want to do your research. But apparently, the American Army, they dropped like plenty of like corn VHS videos and corn DVDs throughout Afghanistan. And by the time the American soldiers like landed in Afghanistan, there were like apparently plenty of like children who were like selling bootleg corn and stuff. I don't know, which it makes sense, like it being a war zone and then them selling corn, because I feel like, well, corn does go hand in hand with the demonic and hell. We all know war is hell. But yeah, I guess the aim was to lower the insurgent, the Taliban, to lower their morale. I'm assuming. I don't know. But yeah, corn can really be used as a weapon. That's how powerful the act of watching corn is. Now, here's a quick recap of what we just learned. The corn. Number 1, the corn industry, Satan's kingdom. Number 2, through the human eyes and the natural law of correspondence, the corn viewer is corresponding the demonic energy and trauma of the performers into their own lives. Number 3, these demonic energies can and will be expressed in the corn viewer's life through unfortunate events such as family crises, car crashes, fights, and even expressed through appalling living conditions, etc. And number 4, corn also has a negative impact on the collective as well. And last, how to repel and cast out these demonic forces. There's only one way and one way only. Repent these dark forces away. Repent and turn back so that your sins may be wiped out. Acts 3:19. So yeah, if you're really struggling with corn and it really has like a stranglehold over you, I'd say the best thing you can do is, talk to someone like, a believer, and join like a fellowship or church, like a real and I mean like a real church, and not one of them fake, demonic churches that promotes blasphemy, if you know what I mean. And yeah, like talk to somebody, but mainly first thing you gotta do is repent and then turn to Jesus. Like I'm telling you, man, you really gotta turn to Jesus. Like, yeah, like seek a fellowship, like give your life to God. Yeah. Especially in these last days. But yeah.